Realistic films that do not necessarily have happy endings, unconventional scripts, abusive language, and a bunch of exceptionally violent characters. This is what one would expect while watching an Anurag Kashyap film. A romantic triangle, one in which the girl has to choose between her unabashed rowdy boyfriend and the boring match that her parents have set for her. Wait, this is the same old tried and tested template that Bollywood has been using since time immemorial and does not look like it belongs even remotely close to Anurag Kashyap's distinctive filmography, except that it does. I'm Devesh, and today on my channel Sailor Cinema, I'm going to be reviewing this week's release, Manmarziyan. Manmarziyan centers around Rumi, played by Tapsee Pannu, a free-spirited young woman who lives with her extended family in Punjab, whose youthful desires lead her to Vicky, played by Vicky Kaushal. Trouble starts brewing for the two lovebirds when Rumi's family arranges her marriage to Robbie Bhatia, a banker from London played by Abhishek Bachchan in his comeback film after 2 years. Does Rumi's rapturous romance with a passionate Vicky stand the test of time despite societal pressure? Or does she eventually settle for a more meaningful relationship with the level-headed Robbie? Now, each of these outcomes have been played out repeatedly in countless number of Bollywood films. What sets Manmarziyan apart, however, is its take on how people behave indecisively when they are in love. Each of the three main characters is impulsive. They make rash decisions that set them on a path of self-destruction. And like the title suggests, each of them follows what their heart desires. There is something about the way female characters are fleshed out in Anurag Kashyap's films. Whether it is the sexually liberated Kalki Kochlin's Chanda from Devdi, Anushka Sharma's Rosie Norona from Bombay Velvet, or Zoya Hussain's earthy Sunaina Mishra from Mukkabaz, the women in Anurag Kashyap's world of films come from fractured families that have their roots planted deep in patriarchy. They are no Sati Savitri, girl next doors, or damsels in distress. Strong and resilient, manipulative and unapologetic to the core, they are a welcome departure from the plastic femininity portrayed on screen by other inferior directors. The women in his films are not merely incidental tools but are credible and also as much in the driver's seat as the male protagonist in steering the narrative. Tapsee Pannu's Rumi is no different. She's fiercely independent, rebellious to the core and proud of it. She makes it a point to lash out at anyone who tries to put her down. At one point, she consummates her marriage before texting a former lover about it, just to make him jealous. Had this been any other filmmaker, the audience would never have empathized with her. But this being an Anurag Kashyap film, we understand the internal angst behind her actions. Vicky Kaushal plays the bad boy that every good girl would love to fall in love with. He's non-committal, rude, at times violent, and yet his only redeeming factor is his carefree and uninhibited love for Rumi. After wowing us with his performances as the caring husband in Razi and as the loyal friend in Sanju, the actor unleashes his wild side with this one and does not disappoint. At first glance, one would think that a film featuring colourful characters such as Rumi and Vicky would have absolutely no space for a boring character like Robbie. He is a banker, and like all men who chase money, he is quite adept at hiding his emotions and feigning indifference, little knowing how much pain he gradually gives himself. There is an inherent strength to his character as he accepts each rejection with unusual grace and decency. He is a Sikh who steps out of his house without a turban only to put it back on once he enters home so as not to hurt his parents. All these tiny little details make him far from boring, and while Tapsee and Vicky's wild performances have a lasting effect, it is Abhishek Bachchan's deeply understated performance that thoroughly yanks at your heartstrings. The actor shows just what he can do when powered by a well-written character. Now, writer Kanika Dhillon neatly fleshes out her three imperfect characters without passing any form of judgment on them. Irrespective of the many mistakes that each of these three characters commit, you'd find yourself rooting for both the love stories, whether it is the joyful and carnal relationship shared by Rumi and Vicky or the playful blossoming romance between Rumi and Robbie. One of the things that I look most forward to while watching an Anurag Kashyap film is the way the director manages to incorporate songs in his film without hampering the narrative. Manmarziyan, with a duration of 2 hours and 37 minutes, has a total of 15 songs in it, and yet not one of the songs feels like the film could have done without. Whether it is the groovy Forse Pyar that sheds light on Vicky and Tapsee's playful romance, the soulful Darya, or the peaceful Sachi Mohabbat, the lyrics of every song have been penned in Punjabi, and vastly describe how lovers opt for extremes in order to be with their loved ones. My personal favorite was the lamentable Halla, sung by Jyoti Nooran, whose rustic texture provides the lyrics penned by Shelley poignant and pregnant with meaning. Another commonly overlooked trademark of the director are the dancing characters in his films who pop up in unexpected places. Whether it is the trio of dancers who groove coolly to the song Pardesi in a neon-lit pub in Delhi in his 2009 film Devdi, the Mithun Chakravarti impersonator in Gangs of Wasepur, or the guy who breakdances with abandon on the ghats of Banaras in the song Petra from the director's previous film Mukkabaz. These are characters that are more otherworldly and have no obvious role in the film narratives, but are more like witnesses to the story. In this film, the dancing characters are two twin women who are present in several of the songs. Their presence in the film is highly symbolic as they represent Rumi's confusion over whom to choose, Vicky or Robbie. If you are or have been in a relationship before, then Manmarziyan would leave you deeply invested in at least one of the principal characters. If you are someone who has lost out on your love simply because you took it for granted, then you'd find yourself relating to Vicky's character. If you are someone who has made irrational decisions and in the process ended up hurting your partner, then you'd find yourself deeply invested in Tapsee's character. And finally, if you are someone who has given your everything, invested a lot of time, faith and patience in a relationship only to find yourself being taken for granted, then no doubt you'd find yourself rooting for Abhishek's character. They say that the best romantic movies are the ones where you're absolutely rooting for the couple in love to end up together. Manmarziyan provides us with two such love stories, knowing fully well that celebrating the success of one would mean experiencing the painful pangs that may arise from the failure of the other. Manmarziyan is the director's answer to those who slot him as a director who is capable of making only dark, gritty and gangster-driven films. With Manmarziyan, the director shows that he is equally capable at making romantic films, while at the same time retaining his distinct voice as a filmmaking author. I'm going with 4 out of 5 for Manmarziyan.